If you want to cash out millions in crypto tax-free, even with no source of funds, Hong Kong is one of the last real backdoors left. The city sits at the heart of China's shadow banking, and it is the strongest global hub when it comes to over-the-counter crypto dealers. And these OTC desks are the cheapest and easiest way to cash out crypto in any amounts into actual bank accounts, fast and without the ridiculous questions that most countries ask. So in the next few minutes, we'll break down what makes Hong Kong so crypto and tax friendly with relaxed regulations, the best OTC desks with the best rates, as well as how to cash out without triggering any compliance problems back home. With that out of the way, let's dive in. Now, what makes Hong Kong so special? Well, one, its international status as a global trading hub, but two, its flexible regulations. Because despite hosting the largest concentration of banks and OTC desks in the entire world, Hong Kong is the driving force behind China's underground economy with the West. And you put these two factors together, and that's what makes it the ideal location, not just to cash out your crypto, but also to build a solid paper trail for your coins. Now, to do that, you'll start off by forming a Hong Kong company. There's no capital gains, and as long as the crypto is traded outside of the country, there's no income tax either. In fact, it's one of the few ways how you can continue compounding your crypto gains tax-free without having to leave your home country, as long as you play the undistributed income loophole correctly. I've talked about it before, but staying focused, this video is how to build that source of funds for your cryptos and cash it out cleanly into banks. For that, Hong Kong offers one of the best tools, something that many in the offshore space actually complain about. Their companies require you to give an annual audited financial statement, basically their government making sure that all of your paperwork is in order. It's a mandatory extra cost, but with the right flexible accountant, it actually becomes an asset. You're getting a reputable jurisdiction putting a stamp of approval for your crypto income, and if approved, it's actually something that many foreign banks and tax authorities will take into account. The only issue with Hong Kong over the past decade has been banking. Since 2015, it's been almost impossible for local Hong Kong companies to open business accounts without demonstrating strong ties to the region. And even if you do manage to open an account, they recently joined the Common Reporting Standards, which means that all of your banking activity gets automatically reported back home. Now, of course, there are always workarounds and ways to get around it with money and time, but from a practical standpoint, it's just easier to open a bank account in a reputable Asian country like Singapore or Malaysia. And if you want something in Europe, there are many banks in Switzerland and Liechtenstein that do a lot of business with the Chinese, and they will do the job just as well. Now, as a crypto trader, you may be asking yourself, why would I spend more money on a Hong Kong company when there are far cheaper options elsewhere? Simple: indifference and rates. When it comes to KYC, a lot of these OTC desks do not ask for any. And if they do, they certainly don't care where your coins came from. And this indifference stems from what OTC desks in Hong Kong are truly operating. They're quietly powering China's shadow banking industry. China has banned crypto on paper, but behind the scenes, they still use crypto in Hong Kong to move capital. And these OTC desks do not deal with retail traders. They're dealing with large Chinese miners, large brokers, and institutional flows. And those flows are massive. But in order to keep their access to banking, they need to appear like they're not crypto companies because of the ban. So instead, they operate under commercial aliases, such as Ocean Bright Commercial Services instead of Asia Bitcoin Exchange. And they issue trade invoices, logistic receipts, even CMR documents, all which check out with banks and accounting records, even though technically they don't exist. And this allows them to continue with the massive inflows and outflows while staying under the radar. Now let me break it to you as a foreigner, you're probably not going to get access to their inner circle. That world relies entirely on introductions, and if you don't know who's legit, you're either going to get burnt or they're just simply not going to talk to you. Now, that does not mean that you can't use OTC desks in Hong Kong. It's just going to be with crypto trading companies, and their rates far outcompete many countries. In fact, one of the best OTC desks in the city is Crypto Hong Kong, and they even take Monero. They do wire transfers in US dollars just for amounts above 100 grand. If you don't want any KYC, there's 1 Satoshi and 168 OTC. Their limits, though, are at 120,000 Hong Kong dollars for AML reasons. It's roughly about 15,000 US dollars. If you want to increase that limit, you can just hit a bunch of desks across the city. I've also put in a bunch of other OTC desks so that you can compare the rates between all of them. Now, for those of you who do not want to go through the banking hassle, maybe you're dealing with smaller amounts, Hong Kong companies are also good for cashing out crypto into payment platforms. The ones that would make sense for the Hong Kong region would include Stratus, Currency, Airwallex Ping Pong, and I've put a bunch of others on the screen. Just remember, when you're dealing with large bank transfers, you want to work with a flexible accountant to explain where the money came from. I've talked about this in length in previous videos. If you want to take it a step further, not just to cash out, but to also keep your banking activity off the global radar, you'll want to work with jurisdictions that sit in the legal gray zone. And I'm talking, of course, about Taiwan. Just like Northern Cyprus, Taiwan isn't recognized by most of the world countries, and that gives it a unique advantage. It cannot be part of the OECD's Common Reporting Standard. Basically, Taiwanese banks can't, by its very nature of being unrecognized, give any banking information to your home country, unless you are a US citizen. Because Taiwan relies on US military support against China, it has to act as a de facto US colony, and therefore Americans can't take advantage of this play. But if you're any other citizen, then one bank that you may want to start off with is Far Eastern International Bank. And they have in the past opened bank accounts for crypto and Web3 companies, which would be your Hong Kong company, as long as you have an introducer and you register a local branch on the island. Another advantage of not banking in Hong Kong, whether it be Taiwan, Asia, Europe, or even North America, is that it limits your legal exposure if an OTC desk ever gets caught up in a criminal or civil probe. See, if you're only using a Hong Kong company, but you're banking elsewhere, that bank will not be automatically alerted if something goes down in Hong Kong that had nothing to do with you. It would require a formal MLAT, a mutual legal assistance treaty request, for Hong Kong to actually share that information with the foreign country. And those requests are given out in very rare circumstances. Usually it's high-profile major investigations. By banking outside of Hong Kong, you're minimizing your risk if the OTC dealers have any problems. Now, there are certain crypto traders who are absolutely hell-bent on getting a local Hong Kong bank account. And if that's you, then by all means, don't fall for the popular but overpriced and risky loophole you'll find online. There are certain offshore agents that are promoting a Hong Kong crypto-friendly bank account that you can get in 5 days. The only thing is, they're not actually telling you that it's not your account. You're getting a sub-account under their main account, which the agent usually gets by a personal relationship with the banks. So basically, you are a tenant in someone else's house. And with the crazy fees for opening it and closing it and the monthly recurring fees, it's often worse value than just having a payment platform account under your company's name. Because essentially, it is at the whim of the agent, a la FTX. If the agent loses access to the bank or they go bust, you have no claims, you have no recourse, you have no guarantees. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a niche specific scenario where this could work, especially if you have to make a quick deal. But for the average crypto investor, there's just far too many risks and it's not a long-term solution. To summarize, there are 3 reasons why you would choose Hong Kong to cash out your cryptos. And number 1, their OTC dealers are extremely flexible. They give some very good rates, as well as they don't care where your coins came from. You can take in high volumes. It's a great place to sell. Just make sure that if you're buying, do it with reputable OTC dealers that ask for KYC. Simply, you don't want to buy dirty crypto. Secondly, because of Hong Kong's status as a global trading hub where crypto is actually used for daily business activities, it's far easier to explain your crypto business from an accounting and banking standpoint. And then finally, those mandatory audited financial statements, they're not a burden, they're actually an asset as long as you have a good accountant who can use it as a paper trail for your crypto inflows when it comes to tax authorities, when it comes to banking. I made a previous video that explains how anonymous banking works in today's day and age in first-tier countries. You can check it out over there for some ideas. But that's it for today's presentation. If you enjoy this type of content, as always, you can share it with a friend or comment down below to boost the algorithm. But I'll be seeing you guys in a future presentation. And until then, bye-bye.